Hello, Feuzion. My name is Alex Feuzion, host of Feuzion News. Today is February 8th, 2017, and I have a huge show for you right now. I am joined with former WWE superstar and one of the greatest managers, heel managers in WWE history, in my opinion, Miss Vickie Guerrero. So, Vickie, how are you doing today?
Excuse me! Hi, Alex.
That was my favorite catchphrases of yours. Thank you for sharing that with me today. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. How are you today?
Good. So, I have to ask, you're, like I said, one of the, best heel managers in WWE history, including, of course, Eddie Guerrero. You also manage Edge. Then recently, in the past few years, Dolph Ziggler. You also managed Chavo, and Jack Swagger and a few other people. And, there are some, those are some big names that you manage. So, was there someone that you didn't get the opportunity to manage, and what was it like managing those superstars?
Well, first, thank you for your compliment on me being a manager. It was a great time in the WWE. These guys were amazing to work with. To
Mm,
know that I was able to headline with Edge and Dolph Ziggler
yeah.
was just, it was a great time. I mean, there's no words to describe except it was fun, stressful, and I just want to give my 100% to these guys. If there was a guy that I wanted to manage, I think I would have loved to have managed Boogeyman. I think that would
Mm,
have been such a fun storyline with the worms and everything, but
mm,
it never worked out that way. But to be able to see these guys and to manage them, it was a compliment, to them, because I was in awe, and then I had a job to do. So as long as I did my 100% and was there at the high spots and at the right time, it was a good night.
mm. Yeah, no, if I were you, I would pick The Rock because didn't he sing what a nice song to you, complimenting you? He sang such a nice song. I would have picked The
No,
Rock, right?
Alex, The Rock would not have been a great client. He is rude,
No,
and he can't even sing on pitch. Don't.
no. Of course, we're talking about that was one of my favorite moments. I think it was the 20th anniversary of Monday Night Raw that night.
It was, yeah.
No, I think I rewatched that moment probably 100 times. It was it was a great moment, and what was it like standing up there with everyone watching you? Everyone was watching you and singing along once the song, went back to the second verse again. And what was that like for you?
It was quite. At first, I thought it was a compliment, and I thought he was actually flirting with me. But when it turned out to be an insult to my womanhood and
Mhm.
how I carry myself as a female, um, even though I can say he's talented a little bit, but yeah, he's insulted me, and I will not talk to him for the rest of my life because I thought he really wanted to date me. I really did. But no
Mhm.
more. I'm not even going to talk to him about him anymore.
No
He's
more.
ruined.
Okay. Now, of course, you showed up back in the WWE last summer, and your former boyfriend Dolph Ziggler, he didn't even know who you were. What was that like? Ex-boyfriend didn't pretend that he didn't even know who you were.
It's heartbreaking, especially when I helped him gain championships and, make him one of the biggest superstars to headline, Raw and SmackDown and even pay-per-views. I will always remember how he treated me. So if I ever see him again, he would have wished that he would have said something different.
Mhm.
But I'm sure he forgot those romantic nights and the dinners that we shared and how quickly we forget.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not going to be on my list anymore.
No.
No.
Well, you might be on Chris Jericho's list pretty soon, right? Everyone's been added to that list of Jericho. And, have you been watching the new product, the new era of the WWE recently or no?
I do. I try. I'm in school, so I
Mhm.
try and watch as much as I can. But yeah, the product is great. I love that they split the brands again. I
Yeah.
think that's such an opportunity for everyone to get their chance to be able to be on TV and to show their creativity. I'm a fan of the draft. I love when you get to see the surprise of who's going to go where. I have to say, I probably watch SmackDown more because my son-in-law, Aiden English, the Vaudevillains, is on there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm a big fan of him, and because I love him,
Mm.
and so I kind of tend to watch SmackDown on Tuesdays.
Mhm. Now, you're actually really good friends with Chris Jericho in real life, right?
I am. Him and his family are just wonderful people. And by the way, Chris is always upset with someone, so his list is going to keep growing until he can just be happy for himself. That's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna say. Yeah, but other than that, his wife is great. The kids are beautiful. Yeah, great family. But Chris has some issues.
Mhm. Yeah, now we're talking about great moments in the WWE, and when we're talking about Vickie Guerrero, everyone has their favorite moment. And my second favorite moment of yours, probably not yours at all, was when you were ordered by Stephanie McMahon to go get you coffee. And Roman Reigns said he would take the coffee for you, and he put, something in that coffee. And then Stephanie proceeded later in the night to throw up on you.
Of course. But, yeah. Well, I'm so sorry she got sick, but yeah, it wasn't cool for her to throw up on me.
Yeah.
Disgusting. That was
And then, of course, Stephanie McMahon threw you into that big pile of mud. That was your last night in the WWE. So,
um
Stephanie McMahon has
hold
not
on,
treated
Alex.
you.
She may have thrown me in there, but how did it end up? If you can clarify for the world to hear, how did it end up?
You ended up throwing Stephanie McMahon also in there, and she could not get out of the mud pool, which was great. She was throwing referees in there.
Yeah,
She couldn't get out herself. She was trying to get out, but she couldn't. And but you had your moment there that night.
it did. Thank you for clarifying the ending. But yeah, Stephanie is such a great person, and for her to do that for me on my last night,
Mhm.
we laughed a lot, to see how we were going to work this whole night out. It was a lot of chuckling and laughing, but it was still a bitter moment because that was going to be my last night.
Mhm.
But for her to do that with the other girls and the referees and to be all involved with this it made me go home happy.
Mhm. Definitely. Now, I have to ask, that must have been, you probably got what, 2 weeks in advance to know what happened that night, right?
Actually,
Probably
it
not at
was
all.
it was an hour and a half before doors opened.
Yeah, wow.
So usually when you go to the show doesn't come out till 4 or 5 o'clock, and still
Mm.
the show still changes after you get the original script. So a lot of changes were going on. We weren't really sure how that was going to work out, but the end result was I was really happy with it.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll switch gears now and talk AJ Lee. I know, she went on, she left the WWE, a few years ago, right around the time you left. What was it like working with AJ? Was she really that crazy lady that she portrayed? And, I know you portrayed that mean, heel figure, and, you are a very nice person, so what's that like? When does the acting part of the job stop, and when does, the acting job start in the WWE?
Well, I mean, we are our own person outside the
Yeah.
ring. We portray a character that's supposed to be vile and rude and have this evil motive each night that we go out there. But the times with AJ Lee were really great times in the ring, and she's very talented and creative. And in person, she's really quiet. I don't know if it's because she was texting, Punk all the time in the car, and she didn't want to talk to me because, okay, so he's a little more important than I am on a road trip. But she's really sweet and she's quiet. But when we got in the ring, our chemistry really blended well together. And I love when she went crazy, and I think we fed off each other's energy, and to
Mhm.
have some great moments in our matches and also with the interviews, I think we did our job well together.
Mhm. Now, Vicky, the Royal Rumble was a few weeks ago, and there were some rumors going around. We saw the women's had a Hell in a Cell match for the first time ever last fall, and now the steel cage match on Friday Night SmackDown. 30 woman Iron Man match. So there's a lot of cool matches that have been for just for the men now, and now the women are getting their own. Now I have to ask you, would you be interested in returning if this match ever happened, a women's Royal Rumble match?
I think, of course, I'd be interested. I mean,
Mhm.
the women's division has grown so much within the last year, and they have brought so many talented, dedicated women that are just have their own style, and Charlotte Flair to Sasha Banks to Bailey, and I'm amazed at the things that they do. And of course, the show gets better because of the new talent they bring on, and the division is strong. It's empowering, and I'm really in great support of them, and I'm proud of them because they have become their own elite division. And I think that's awesome. They finally gave them the chance to be able to take their moments and let them use their talent how they wanted to.
Mm-hmm. Now, you, of course, know about, winners winning the Royal Rumble. Of course, you worked with the Rated R superstar Edge, one of my favorite wrestlers. I was at his retiring ceremony here in upstate New York, Albany. It was a SmackDown right after he made the announcement, Monday Night Raw. And I'm a big Edge fan. And, what was it like working with, like you say, Adam, but really Edge in the WWE ring?
Edge is, he's someone special in my heart because he is the first one that showed me the psychology of the ring, how to be comfortable, to get to be comfortable in all four corners of the ring, how to work the camera. He always let me know how he wanted that match to go for that night. And I always double checked and triple checked with him of where I'm supposed to be, where does he want me. And I think he was the most fun because at that moment we got to, guys got to hit girls, girls got to hit guys. And I think it was so much fun because when I got to spear Edge and he speared me, I loved it. I mean, and to get in the action, and I wasn't scared because, I had some great guys that knew exactly what they were doing. We talked about it. I always made sure I was at the right place at the right time. But Edge is very talented, and I'm so happy that he's gone on to bigger and better things. But it was a very emotional night that night. I didn't even know what was going on until that day when the word got around that he wasn't able to wrestle anymore. So this was it was a bittersweet moment, but at the same time, it's about the person's health and it's about him having a fulfilled life. And for WWE to give him such a great night to honor him, it was nice to be a part of that.
For sure. And we'll switch gears now and let's talk. Were you a wrestling fan growing up or no? Because
No.
I started watching wrestling when I was about 10 years old, right about the time when you started managing Dolph Ziggler. So I started, that's when I really started getting into wrestling. And I've been watching wrestling ever since. So you said you weren't a wrestling fan growing up?
No, I was growing up with 5 younger brothers. So if wrestling was on, it's because they were watching it. I was into cheerleading and dance and at the football games, busy with high school. So wrestling was not something that I want to sit down and watch. If you asked me about wrestling when I was in high school, I knew about the Von Erichs because they were cute. They had blonde hair. There was a bunch of them, so every girl talked about the Von Erichs. But, when I was dating Eddie, with my brothers knowing that he was a wrestler, Eddie would come over and spend time with them because they wanted to watch wrestling. And I would sit there like just waiting for the show to be over with because I wanted to spend time with Eddie. So it was a big joke in the house that my brothers never wanted me to break up with Eddie because they like to have him come over and watch wrestling, and he would teach him things, and it was a big joke in the house.
But look, now you're a wrestling fan. You enjoy SmackDown. Now you have more relatives in the WWE that you can watch now. So it all came together, right?
Yeah, of course, dating Eddie, and watching him work through Mexico and Juarez, and seeing him grow in his career, you have a respect for it. And I started to love the business, and I started to respecting what he did. And so of course it grew on me, and then with him getting so successful, you want to see more of it, so in the house it became a wrestling household, as you could say.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll go to some fan questions, and we'll go back to some more questions from me. And my teacher at school wants me to ask you. He's a big wrestling fan. He knows he knows a few wrestlers too. What do you think is missing from the product in today's new era for a mouthpiece for a wrestler? Like, does he think, do you think we should see more managers around? What do you think is missing for that aspect of a promo type?
I think for a good promo to be successful, that person giving it has to have confidence in themselves and in their character. I see some superstars that, you know, they'll do a promo and there's no emotion and there's no confidence in what they're trying to relate to the crowd. And I get frustrated, you know, and I'm just like, say something, or, you know, show some emotion. But that was something that, you know, Dusty Rhodes taught me. You know, the promo is never going to be good if you don't believe in it yourself first. So that was something very important to me, you know. So I think that, you know, to have more managers is great because it complements the wrestler. The wrestler can do the wrestling, he can do the work inside the ring, but I think the manager complements so much as far as the storyline, you know, to see Paul Heyman and, you know, myself, and you see Lana, you know, doing some of the managing. I love it because there's more aspects and there's more going on in the match, and I get excited when I want to see what that manager is going to do, because there's going to be a cheat spot, or there's going to be something that's going to determine how the match turns out. So I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And that question came from Mr. Libran. Sorry about that. I forgot to say his name, but, you know, special shout out to him tonight.
Younger than me?
Well, I mean, you are a cougar, right? So
absolutely. How are you? Well, you're kind of young, Alex, so I'll be quiet.
Yeah, for sure. And okay, we'll switch gears now
today.
And you know, also I got a question from Twitter. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, my biggest pet peeve is someone being late. And another biggest pet peeve is someone smacking their gum out loud. That's
okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
Good. We agree on something, huh, Alex?
Yeah, you know, I know you don't like that song. I like that song. You know, I thought it was funny to see Stephanie McMahon throw up on you, but
whatever.
Well, and you know, that brings us to the next funny point. You know, you had some great moments, and you also had some very high comedy parts of your career. And this part you probably won't like at all is Jerry the King Lawler. And you know, him and John Cena had some fun. This was after TLC back in 2011. I remember this moment very clearly. You were trying to, you know, talk about Dolph Ziggler's big win, and the crowd would not let you talk at all, and just the arena filled with booze. You know, and that brought in, of course, you know, some overweight jokes from John Cena and Jerry Lawler. You know, that was, you know, I bet it wasn't funny for you, but it was funny for the whole WWE universe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, the one thing that I had to that I wanted to enjoy in my career was to have fun. And a lot of people never wanted to do things that were, you know, a food fight or something that was going to embarrass them, because they wanted to, you know, always protect their image. But, you know, I felt that if I was going to do something funny or be insulted or be the joke of the night, I wanted to be so good that when the fans went home at night, they were going to say, man, did you remember that with Vickie Guerrero? You know, she made me laugh, or man, they insulted her, because it's part of the job. You know, I'm a heel. I was, you know, the go-to person to insult, you know, for the night. And if sometimes it did bother me, you know, I'm human, and I go home sometimes going, gosh, you know, that was really brutal. But my character kept growing, and I kept getting successful. And I was asked to do more. I was asked to do more, you know, storylines, and I got to be in the main event. So I think that with me, you know, doing my job well and having fun and being a good sport and telling, you know, the writers, yeah, let's do that. Oh, by the way, let's add this too, you know, let's have fun. I think it showed my sportsmanship, and it showed that I was going to be the best that I could be, you know, give my 100%. So yeah, that was important to me, that I still had a good time and have the crowd remember something that night.
Yeah, and I had to ask, you know, what's your relationship with Jerry the King Lawler? Because, of course, they brought back that heart attack storyline, you know, that, of course, was terrible. And I was so devastated because I'm a big fan of Jerry Lawler as well. You know, and that, you know, you were managing Dolph Ziggler that night when, you know, and Jerry has claimed that, in theory, the elbow drops that, you know, he suffered from Ziggler, you know, he thinks caused, you know, created to cause that. And you were right there at ringside. You know, what was going through your mind later in that night when, you know, he suffered that, you know, heart attack? And, you know, really, you know, did you see anything that happened during the match that you thought maybe that could have happened? Or like, what was going through your mind that night?
I mean, no, honestly, when we were doing the match, Jerry was, in great shape. I mean, he was
Yeah.
still involved with it. We didn't see anything different from him as far as him in pain, you know, for the for him to, go into that heart attack. Of course, we are all concerned, and
Yeah.
we felt bad, so that was, first of all, we're family there. So
Mhm.
we're concerned for his health. And, because Dolph was, involved with him at that moment, I don't think that was anything that was, contributing to his situation. But, it all ended up great, where Jerry ended up, being in better health. So it's always a concern because you don't want anyone injured or
Mhm.
hurting,
Oh yeah,
during,
for sure.
yeah.
Hmm. So you, like you said, you're a big family there in the WWE, and besides the people that we mentioned earlier, do you miss who is the most you miss there on the WWE roster right now?
Uh, Gosh, my girl Tamina Snuka,
Oh,
we were
yeah.
road buddies, for 2 years. And
Wow.
she is just a really great friend. And we still talk to each other, at least, twice a month to try and catch up. Of course, she's busy now because, she's getting ready to go back to the WWE
Yeah.
after her shoulder injury. I
Mhm.
miss her a lot. I value Johnny Ace, so much. I call him boss. He was always good to me, always told me the truth. And I value that we had a good friendship with each other. And there's some girls and guys, that I'll miss, but as a whole, to go back to the shows and see everyone, it's a good night because you
Mhm.
forget you miss someone until you see them. And it's always going to be a bittersweet moment that I'm home and I watch a show and I think about the stage crew and the catering and all the
Mhm.
superstars and the writers. So it's always hard to to stay away, not get to visit with them like I used to.
Mhm. And since you left, you've been very busy. You're in school now, and you've also been sponsoring a few new projects. We'll talk about that near the end of the interview. But what's the, like what are you up to nowadays, Vickie?
Well, now I am doing my bachelor's with Feuzion University, so I'll be done next year. My degree is in science of healthcare management,
Mhm.
so it's going really well. I love school, and I was working in a physician's office, but I am now home where I'm able to do more appearances and signings. So I do a lot of Comic Cons, and I'm getting ready to start some motivational speaking for kids in
Oh,
elementary and junior high levels. So
oh,
that's
wow.
something that's really exciting. And, writing my book, that takes up a lot of my time when I'm not studying school. So I'm pretty busy. I can't just sit still and not do anything. I have to have 3 or 4 things going at the same time so I can feel like I'm productive.
Yeah, for sure. And before we wrap up the interview, and we'll talk about your products that you're sponsoring as well, I have to ask. You said "excuse me" at the beginning of the show, and that's your uh, catchphrase that everyone knows you for. And how did this whole catchphrase come about for you?
The excuse me catchphrase came up by mistake. It was in the middle of a huge promo the writers gave me. I think my promo typed was almost 2 pages long. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
of course, my promo always got changed at the last minute. I
Mhm.
believe it was 20 minutes before I was supposed to go out on stage. I'm still memorizing this promo, and I didn't feel good about it, and there's so much to talk about. Uh, I went out there, I got lost. I kind of looked like a deer in headlights. The crowd knew exactly what was going on because I must have looked just scared and knew that I was pretty much screwed from the from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Um, so when I kind of got my thoughts together and remembered where I was in the promo, I just said, excuse me, because the fans were so rude. They were throwing fingers at me. They were giving me dirty faces. They were telling me horrible things that weren't getting picked up on the camera. And I finally just said, excuse me, and they kind of, they kind of like got more pissed off at me.
Mhm.
And so it worked because I got to gather myself and continue the promo and finish it out.
Mhm.
But when the writers saw how loud the crowd got and how much they were upset with me, the next night they were like, let's try this excuse me again. And pretty soon it was something I got to do every night. And so the crowd always looked forward to it. And some nights when they didn't want me to say excuse me, I was kind of like, what? I'm in the city and the crowd is sold out and you don't want me to say excuse me. And it was I would get mad at that because that's my catchphrase. I
Mhm.
always wanted to say it at WrestleMania. I never got to, but like like some of the advice was that, you know, you want to keep it for special moments. And so I
Mm.
learned to, like, you know, only say it whenever it meant something. So yeah, that's how it got started, but it was total mistake. It wasn't anything planned on anyone's part.
Yeah, for sure. Now I have to ask, I have two questions right here. First, you mentioned WrestleMania and Donald Trump, the president, Donald Trump, without going, political or anything here, but he was at WrestleMania. Were you at the WrestleMania he was at or no?
I got to meet him. Very nice gentleman. You know, talked a lot. He
Mhm.
was very uh, honored to be there, and I think he was having a better time than we were. You know, of course, you know, I knew him as a celebrity, you know, and
Mhm.
to see him now, you know, being president, I am excited. I got to shake his hand and, you know, see him shave, you know, Vince's hair off. So those are good times, you know, and he's a good sport. And, you know, not to get political or anything, but I think everyone deserves a chance to prove themselves. And I'll give Donald Trump that because, you know, everyone deserves a chance to do something good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you with that. Now we'll go back to your scripts. Now I have to ask, do you keep your scripts? Do you have some of those scripts from former shows, or have
No,
you lost them throughout the years?
I would I would throw them away as soon as they were done because I had long promos. I mean, it was something that if I did it well, you know, and I would shred it and it was done for the night because, you know, you just want to
Mhm.
focus on the next night. But they were written, you know, so a lot of them got marked on and I would, you know, make notes and stuff. But, you know, of course, we couldn't take the scripts out there because you had to memorize them. So usually when I threw them away, you know, I never wanted to keep one because, you know, it's just, you just do so many that, you know, it just becomes a regular thing to just throw it away.
Yeah. Okay, Vicky, before we wrap up this Fusion News interview, Mike has mentioned at the beginning of the show you are sponsoring some products. You also have a new website out. So I want you to talk about your sponsored products and your new website.
Sure. My website just went live about 4 days ago. It
Oh,
is
wow.
VickieGuerrero.net. There's some great products. I have a Cougar T-shirt that we've designed. There's photographs that a fan can get a specialized message for me to sign. We have Eddie's T-shirts and we have my T-shirts that you're able to get directed to another website to buy. There's a calendar of events. There's a blog that you can sign in and write me a message. It's a great website. It's simple and it means a lot to me because I love to connect with the fans. And you can also see my social media what I'm talking about for the day. My products that I'm endorsing, I'm an ambassador of Peak Cosmetics.
Mhm.
They sell lip gloss, mascara, and they're coming out with some more colors that are just a really great line because they're organic, they're natural, they're cruelty free. And then their sister company is Duval Products, which is a hair company. They sell flat wands, they sell, you know, flat irons. There's hair brushes, and it's just a really fun company to try and sell their products for. And I'm also on the FireFan app. I'm an affiliate where I'm able to play live televised sports, and we just finished the Super Bowl this past Sunday, and now we're focusing on NBA. So fans can sign up, download the app, which is FireFan app, and when you play, you get to chat with me in the rooms. There's
Mhm.
famous celebrities, there's professional athletes on there, and you predict the outcome of each quarter or drive or whatever the game is about. And if you predict correctly, then you get points. So not only do you get to talk with the celebrities, but you get to have bragging rights whenever you score big. And we try and score, you know, first from everyone else. So at the Super Bowl, I scored first on my team. So just
Oh,
saying,
wow.
yeah, yeah. But it's a great app to get in touch with the fans. And
Mhm.
yeah, and then I'm writing my book, so we should be finished with it in about 10 months. I'm still writing, so there's a lot to write. So
Yeah.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope, once the book comes out, you can come back on my show. We can talk about your book and even more stuff. I'd love to promote your book for you as well.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah. Okay, Vicky, I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Favorite moment for you ever in the WWE?
Getting tombstone by the Undertaker. Greatest, biggest, most honored moment in WWE. I
Hmm.
loved it. He was amazing to work with. The move itself, the tombstone, was so crazy and scary at the same time. We never rehearsed it. We just talked about it. He showed me how he was going to pick me up. I was scared as scared as I could be. I can't use my language, but it was a pretty adrenaline fighting night. And after it was all said and done, I wanted to do it again. I mean, he was just amazing, and I was honored that I got to work with him.
And quickly, before, you also had a huge moment with Lay Cool throughout the years, and now Michelle McCool is actually married to the Undertaker in real life. What are they like in real life? I have to ask.
They are the most beautiful people you could ever sit down and have a meal with. I've been to their, I've been with them and got to visit with the kids. And, Mark, the Undertaker, he's such a sweetheart and humble gentleman. Michelle, I call her Mama. We're good friends. Thank God for Facebook, because you get to connect with everyone every once in a while. They're doing very well. I love them to pieces, and just a great Christian, humbled family.
Mm-hmm. Well, Vickie, I have to say, I look forward to talking to you in a few months to promote your book. And, maybe the WWE Universe will be pleased to see you show up on their TVs, maybe in the future, right?
You never know.
Ooh. Okay, Vickie, thank you for coming on my show tonight. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to come on. And where can the fans follow you on Twitter?
At Vickie Guerrero. That's on Twitter. Instagram is Guerrero_Vickie. And Facebook is Excuse Me Fan Club.
Okay, great. Thank you, Vickie, for coming on tonight.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Fuse Nation, I'll be back here at 6 p.m. with another show. Thanks for watching. See you later.